Okay. Hi everyone. Good morning. Amit this side.
Yeah,
I am from basically Delhi, and currently I'm working in a consulting company as a
don't reveal
PPQ.
it. Yeah, don't reveal the companies and all. Just how much experience you have and what is the working area. That's it.
So I am a functional consultant, and I am looking after PPQM module.
Okay, okay, good. And if I am pronounced it correctly, it is Kani Mozi. Sorry.
Yeah, it's me, Kani. You can call me as Kani.
Okay,
I'm from France, but I'm originated from India.
okay,
I started my career in development, SAP, and then finally shift to technical functional in APO right now.
okay,
And I'm
okay,
looking for IBP to shift to IBP.
okay, great.
Mm.
Yeah, Abhishek.
Hi, myself Abhishek. I'm from Mumbai, and actually, I'm not from the SAP field. I'm completely from a different field. I am in the water industry, working since past 3 years,
Okay,
and I'm a commissioning engineer there.
okay,
So I got to know about SAP IBP from my friends. So they are working in the SAP IBP. So
okay.
and I also wanted to change the career to some
Hmm.
software. So that's why I chose to. I selected the SAP, and now that's why I'm working. Not working. Actually, I'm not planning to get into IBP.
Okay, okay, great. Yeah, Vijay.
Hi all, this is Vijay. I have a more than decade experience in APO. Uh, I worked majorly on SMP and PPDS, where I did multiple implementations, rollout, and initially I was in the support project as well.
Hmm.
So I'm from Pune.
Okay, okay, good. Yeah, thanks everyone. I hope all four people are in the demo session, right? I mean, where I just covered the overview of the IBP. So if everyone is there, I will skip that part. I will go ahead for the.
I was there in your demo session.
Okay, Amit, are you there? In the first class.
Yeah. I was there too.
Okay, okay, good.
I was
So let me quickly share my screen. Today we'll understand how to set up IBP when your laptop are at your level. Just a second, I'm just opening the PPT. Let me know once you're able to see my screen.
Yes, you can see.
Right. Right. So in the previous session, we just covered what is IBP, why we go for IBP, and what is there in IBP. So now we'll go a little further. So once you choose IBP as a solution for your requirement, so how to start the process from there. Okay. So the basically depending upon your requirement, your organization will take the license from the SAP. So whether you required only SAP or SNOP, or you require only IBP.
Your voice is breaking.
Not able to hear you, right? If you are speaking.
There is no voice. You are in mute, I hope so. I don't hear anything. Do anybody hear something?
No connect.
I think Sai left.
You might be rejoining.
The end of the phone number. So yeah, you can.
So whenever you are going for the planning model creation, so obviously that is for the planning only. So if you wanna do the planning, obviously you need the data. So basically, there are two types of data. One is transactional, which keeps on changes across the time, and there is one more data that is called master data. Okay, that will be constant over a period. I mean, it will change, but very rarely changes. Okay, so any one of you can explain from your side what is the transactional data or the master data. I mean, depending upon your exposure into it.
Master
Sunny,
data
you can
which
take them.
master data which oddly changes,
Mhm,
like a product location.
mhm.
Transactional data is day-to-day life activities, what we record, like sales order, process order, all the orders, which
Right,
changes every day.
right, right.
Online recording.
Mhm. Right, right. So the transactional data is like sales orders, brand orders, production orders. So day-to-day transactions, which was happened on for the respective product at respective location. So those are all transactional data. The master data is those locations, those products. So those are all the master data. Okay. So now, I mean, for example, let us consider forecasting only. If I want to do the forecast, obviously we need a sales history. Okay, the sales history is the transactional data. Okay, for example, if I want to define my sales history as 100, if I say 100, okay, does it have any meaning to it? So do you immediately you will have certain questions. I mean, what is that 100? Okay, at what time that 100 sales history is there? For which product I have that 100? Or at which location I have that 100? So all those things you need to define. Then only this 100 has certain significance, and you can able to define that 100, right? So those are called dimensions. So like, what is that? And when this 100 is there, and where this 100 is there. Okay, so those are, for example, what is that the so and so product sales history. Okay, at this time, at this week, or at this month, uh, the demand or the sales history is there. Okay, so where at this location I have this. To define this, we need this product, time, and the location. These are the basic dimensions of any data. Okay, so now we are saying that for example, we are saying that this product. Okay, so now again under the product, multiple classifications are there. Okay, so like if I want to describe a product called soap, for example. So when I say soap, immediately you will ask what kind of soap it is. Okay, which brand it is. And so for example, the brand is Santoor. And again in the Santoor, the product families are different. It's like a glycerin soap is there and the normal soap is there. Okay, if you go for the normal soap only, not the glycerin one or the transparent one, then again, how many grams? It is a small one or big one, or like 50 grams and the 100 grams and the 150 grams. So the soaps categories again will be different. So these are all called characteristics or the attributes of that respective product, right? So to define the product, we needed attributes. Okay. So those attributes are like, so it can be a brand, a product description, or the brand of that product, or the product family, or the product category. So these are all the attributes to define, to describe this product. At the same time, for the location also, if I say how you define the location. So if I say certain location, immediately you will ask which country it is. Okay, for example, India. Okay, or from which zone, whether it is from the north or the south, immediately you will ask, right? So for example, south or the north. Okay, so then if you know the zone, then you will next thing is you just need to understand the state, which state it is. For example, let us go with the Karnataka. Okay, then city, which city you are in, the same state, which city or the district you are in, for example, Bangalore. Getting it? So to define this location, I need these attributes. Without that, I cannot able to describe the location. Okay, even to define this 100, what we need to do is for this product, okay, it might be some ID. Okay, so okay, of this brand at this location of state Karnataka, I'm having a sales history of 100, right? At Jan 2021. So to define is 100, I need all these things. Okay, the combination of these attributes. Okay, so this we call it as a planning level or the planning objects. So planning objects. At what level you are defining this 100, that is a planning level. So whatever the values are there, right? So for example, product ID is ABC product, brand is B1, the location, I mean, here I provided country. This is country. So country is India and the state is Karnataka. So these are the values under it. So these are called planning objects. Okay. Getting it? So this is at the level at which you are defining this 100, that is a planning level. Okay. And this is the planning object. So planning objects, multiple planning objects you will have against that level. Okay. Planning objects. So now you have defined the planning level and you can able to define the planning objects also. Before that, before defining the planning objects, so we need certain entities. So like we have the attributes to define our data, actual things. So what is a product, what is a brand, what is a country, at which state? So those things against the attributes we are saving, right? At the same time, so to store this 100, the transactional data, the quantity, so we need one more a planning model entity that is called key figures. Okay, so the data will be stored in the key figures. So these key figures will be defined at planning levels. So once you decide this planning level, against that planning level, you just need to create the key figures. Okay, so once you set up the key figures, so then you can able to create the planning objects for the respective planning level for the respective key figures. Okay, so now if I say 100, okay, I have defined this as a key figure called sales history. Okay, so now it has some meaning, right? I'm saying that product ABC of brand B1, the country India, of the state Karnataka, okay, having a sales history of 100 in Jan 2021. So it has a meaning, right? Now I know what is 100 here. Any doubts so far?
Sai, in that case, all the attributes are called planning objects, right? And key figures are in the planning level.
Planning model entities. See whether if it is attribute or the key figure. So these are the master data. These are all called planning model entities. So whatever the real the data is there, right? It's the product ID. So what is that product ID?
Okay.
So in this case, ABC, a brand B1 at country in country IN at state KN. So the combination of this will be the planning objects.
Okay. In
So
that
like,
case,
I mean, to explain you as you are from APO, so we have the CVC combinations, right?
yes.
So that is only the planning objects.
Okay, but CVC is only for DP, right? Not for SNP.
Similar to that, yeah.
Okay.
Clear? Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
It would be better if you, wherever possible, if you link it with the APO terminology. Like here, the planning objects are similar to the CVC in the APO. If you try to mention that, it would be better to understand it.
You want that connection wherever it is.
Yeah.
The reference.
Yeah. If it is possible for you, you remember that. Then
okay. Wherever applicable, I will explain. But when I'm explaining the concept, it will be in the IBP terminologies only. Later, I will give that as a references. Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
In this case, we are seeing only the DP module MPOS or CVCs, right?
Right. That is a basic things. Yeah.
Okay. Another question. Why you didn't mention like we are in which module, like demand planning or demand sensing? Which module we are now?
No, because we didn't go into that level, right?
Okay.
We are at the planning model creation itself. Getting it?
Yeah.
Hello, Amit this side.
Yeah, yeah.
What is CVC?
Sorry.
What is CVC? You said like you will link these things with CVC, which is in APO, which is
Yeah,
means
CVC
I
is
am
nothing
not
but the
aware of.
planning objects only. I mean, they are from APO, right? So they can
Yes.
correlate it. That is the reason I have used the term. I mean, just understand for the understanding purpose from their side. That's it. So you don't need to worry
Yeah.
about the CVC.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. That is my concern only.
Yeah, that is a
Thank
foreign term for you. That's it. Ignore it. Okay. So now same thing we'll see here in IBP. So let me go to that slide. So we need to create one planning model. Okay. So it's like the planning model describes the structure of your plan in terms of the data and the calculations, how you want to store and how you want to calculate the respect to key figures and everything. So all this the entire structure we call it as a planning model. So in the planning model, we have attributes and we have master data types, we have the time profiles, we have the planning area, we have the planning level and the key figures and the versions. Okay, so now we'll go one by one. So the first thing is an attributes, as I mentioned in the theoretical part. So attributes is nothing but it's like a product ID, product description, product location. So to define the product, we need certain characteristics, right? So those are all called attributes. So now whatever the object you are defining, right? So whether it's a product or the location, so that is the master data type. Okay, we call that as a master data. So now we have one more dimension called time also, right? To at which level you are planning it, whether you are planning at the week level, whether you are planning at the day level, whether you are planning at the monthly level. Okay, so that levels or the hierarchies will be defined with the help of the time profiles. Okay, in the time profiles will create the hierarchies of the planning hierarchies of the time periods. Okay, so you will get more of it when you go into the systems, but just for understanding, I mean, I suppose if you feel that, array, what is this, I mean, it is going beyond your level, so just for now, just make this as it is. Then when you go into the practice session, right, so then you will correlate these things. So the next thing is, once you set up, these are the attributes, and with the help of the attributes, we'll define the master data. Once you define the master data and the time profile definition also created, you have the master data and the time profile. So the combination of these things, okay, out of that will create one object to unite, okay, the master data and the time profiles. Okay, so now on top of the planning area, so we'll add this planning level key figures and the versions. So I mean, once the planning model is creation is done, I will use the planning area as a reference for everything. Okay, so now you have set up the planning profile, a time profile, then you need to create the planning area. Okay, it's a structure to uh, structure which contains the master data types and the time profile at the initial level. Okay, then you know the master data, you know the master data, you know the times, and within the master data we have the attribute. Planning level also, right, to define this data. Okay, so next step is you just need to create the planning level. So it's a combination of the attributes of the master data type. Okay, so that is a planning level. Once you set up the planning level, if you have the planning level, against that planning level, you can able to create the key figures. So without planning level, you cannot create the key figure. To define the key figure, planning level is mandatory. So that is the sequence I have given. So first you need to create the attributes. Without attributes, you cannot create the master data type. Okay, and time profile, again, it is an independent. So now without master data type and the time profile, you cannot go for the planning area. Once you set up the planning area, on top of the planning area, you can create the planning level. So with this planning level, on what basis you will create based upon the attributes. Attributes will be where within the planning area, from where it is getting master data types, right? And the master data types only this attributes will be there. So with the help of those attributes, we'll create this planning level. Okay. Once you set up this planning level, for example, I set up at the this product at this location of respective time. Okay. So against that level, you will create the key figure called sales history or the forecast, whatever it is. Okay. Once you set up the key figures, okay, we can define your data. Now, if you want to play with the different types of data, okay, like it's like for example, in in one version, it's like you want to, for example, total key figures you have created, or 10 key figures you have created. Okay, out of that, you want to utilize only 5 key figures. Okay, and you can create one version, and in another section you want to only consider another 5 key figures, a different one from the first combination. Okay, so to manage that, we'll have the versions. Okay, so this is not only at the key figure level, you can have version dependent master data also. If I go with the one version, I can have one set of master data and the key figures. If you go with another version, you can create a different set of master data and the key figures. Okay, to have the different alternative plans or different plans for your planning model or the planning area, we'll use the versions. That's it. So this is how you will create the planning model. Any doubts here? Any doubts? Hello.
No doubt, Sai.
Yeah.
Versions are like data views, you can say here.
Sorry.
Versions.
Your versions, like if you want to have the multiple plans, okay, with respect to the different set of master datas. Okay, so then we'll create in the form of versions. So you will get to know more about the versions when you are into the system.
If we have 15 key figures and one planning model, we create different versions where for the reporting purpose, one created where we have the total of the key figures, like total demand or total, like that. We can have the different combination of key figures, right?
Right, you're right.
Okay.
1 second, I'm getting a call. Right. Shall I go ahead? Right.
Sai, sorry. How many maximum numbers of version we can have in IBP?
Multiple, I mean, depending upon your wish, requirement.
Okay.
So now let us understand each individual planning model entities. Okay, attributes. So attributes is the obviously the characteristics of the master data types only. Okay, so it can be n-var, char, decimal, integer, timestamp, depending upon the characteristic of their master data. For example, the locations, how you will define is generally a location description, um, it will be the combination of the characteristics and the numbers also. For example, it's like Chennai 123, or within the particular locations, if you want to describe with the help of alphanumeric values. Okay, so for that purpose, you will go for the NVARCHAR. Okay, so that means you can define your description of the respective location or any master data. You will use the alphanumerical values. Okay, and then decimal is uh, the values. So 1, 2, 3, 4, something 0.5. So in those cases, you will go for the decimal. Integer is the exact number. Okay, and the timestamp is, for example, the transportation lead time. Okay, or transportation hours between one location to another location. If you want to define with the help of an attribute, so that timestamp kind of attribute can be used. Okay, it's basically there are I mean, this is at the broader level, the 4 types of attributes. Depending upon our master data, we'll choose one of the attribute. Okay, so the now next thing is a master data. So again, in the master data, we have 5 types of master data. One is a simple master data like product, location, and the customer. Okay, compound master data in the sense the combination of for example, product and product location. So this is the combination to define what are the products are available in respective locations. So to define that, we'll go for the compound master data. So it's a combination of product and location, or the location and customer, or product, location, customer. Okay, it will be like combination of 1 or 2 or more simple master data. Okay, so that we call it as a compound master data. So the reference master data is like when there are 2 master data are there. Okay, to maintain and there is a common reference point is there. Okay, for example, currency is there, and currency current otherwise unit of measures are there. Conversion of the unit of measures factor is also there. Okay, there are 2 master data. So now the unit of measure also, in the unit of measure contains the list of unit of measures. Okay, so now unit of measure or conversion factor also requires the list of available unit of measures, or the units, right? So now instead of loading the data 2 times, okay, for unit of measure and unit of measure conversion factor, will use unit of measure as a reference for the unit of conversion factor. Okay, so if I upload unit of measure, that will automatically utilized in the unit of conversion factor. Okay, so no need to apply twice for it. So in those cases sorry. So in those cases, we'll go for the reference master data. So now external master data comes into the picture when you are connecting with other SAP legacy systems, or SAP HANA system, S4 systems. So then, for example, the material is there. Okay, so here we call it as a product. So whatever the structure of the product is there, whatever the attributes are there, if I want to refer with the S4 HANA structure material, okay, and the material multiple fields are there, right? So if you want to refer with respect to other SAP system, so okay, then in those cases, we'll create our master data as an external, so that when you're loading it, it will automatically load your material information to your our product in the IBP. Okay, so to load exactly to map it Okay, so you just need to define your product as an external master data. Then only you can be able to do that. So when you are referring the data from another system, so then you need to define your master as an external master data. Okay, so there is one more thing called virtual master data. So this will be utilized in the planning only. At the back end, it won't store anything. And at the same time, the compound master data is like the combination of the product and location, for example. So product will have its primary key, that is called a product ID. That should be unique and it cannot be blank primary key in the sense. The location will have its primary key, right? That is a location ID, for example. So when you're combining it, so it will be the combination of these key attributes only. It will take that key attributes or the primary key as a reference, and with the help of that, it will generate it will connect through a product and location. So now, but when it comes to virtual, the primary key is not a primary key, or the key attributes are not mandatory. You can choose any of the attribute from the product. Product description is there, product family is there, product category is there. You can take that as a reference to form the compound master data. So in those cases, well, go for the virtual. Okay, when you are going for the compound, it will always consider the key attributes. But when it comes to virtual, it need not to be a key attributes. Okay, just for the virtual representation, we'll go for it. So these are the types. One is simple, compound, and the reference, and external and the virtual. Depending upon the requirement, we'll choose one of it. Okay. So now comes to the type.
Sorry for external. Whatever we refer to the legacy system, so, it means we refer ECC material as a product in IBP. In APO, we have an ASIF. Do we have anything called like C for something like that?
Right, we have. I mean, when you are want to shift the data from S4 to IBP, okay, we have similar kind of interfaces. Shift you, right, where you define the model, okay, and you will select for which products or which locations or whatever the data you want to shift it to the APO. There, the selection things are there, right? Selection interfaces are there. There you can select and you maintain the data. So only these products will be shifted to the APO. So like same kind of interfaces will be also there for IBP from the S4 side.
In that case, normally the product will be referred as an external, right? Or not simple attribute.
So if you define the product master data as a the normal compound simple master data in IBP, so when you are loading it, when you're trying to load that, it won't accept it. Getting it?
Because of two different technical name.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
So now the next planning model entities, that is a time profile. Okay, so the time profile is like where you define the hierarchy of the time periods, like the yearly wise or quarterly wise or monthly wise. So whatever the level hierarchy you want to define or you want to plan at this level, so those levels are the hierarchies you just need to define in the time profile. Okay, so year, quarter, month, calendar week and the technical week. Do you know the difference between the calendar week and the technical week? Any one of you?
When two months fall in the same week, then it's called a technical week.
Right. For example, So this is 14th week, 15th week, and 16th week. So this is perfectly fits. Okay. So, but if you come here, 13, 12, 12th week, in the 12th week, some part is from the previous month and some part is from the next month, April. Okay. So, so now it's like if you separate entire week, the general calendar week is the 12th week. We call it as a 12th week, but technically it is some part is from the previous month and some part is from the next month. So we call it as, for example, technical week A, technical week B of 13th. Okay, so first 5 days from the technical week A, 13A, and technical week 13B likewise. Okay, if we are more precise about the months with respect to days, so then we'll go for the technical week. Okay. So once you create attributes and the master data, then time profile, then you can able to create the planning area. So it's just a combination of master data type and the time profile. Just save it. Now on top of the planning area, this is an old screenshot, so it won't look like that now. So there is a different interface is there right now. So I will show you. But once you define attributes, master data, and time profiles, then you can able to create the planning area. So there you will provide your time profile here, if you see. Okay, and these are the list of the master data which you have created. You can choose which one you want to use it here. Okay, once you set up this, you will have the list of master data, and within the master data you will have the respective attributes are there. So now with the help of those attributes, we'll create the planning levels. Okay, so planning level is just a set of attributes which we use to define the key figures, right? So, so, so again, the planning level, as I mentioned earlier, so we have the key attributes and the non-key attributes. So in IBP terminology, we call it the root and non-root attributes. Okay, attributes product ID is the root attributes. So the product ID can't be same for two types of two products, right? It should be unique. So then it is a root attribute. The non-root or the non-key attribute is like two products can have the same region, right? So that kind of attributes will call it as the non-root attributes. The planning level will be defined with the help of any one of the attributes. Okay, so at which level you are going to set up your key figure. So again, in the key figures, so key figures is nothing but to store those values, right? The quantities. Okay, so this every key figure, the prerequisite is the planning level. Without planning level, we can't create key figures. So every key figure has certain base planning level. So on top of that planning level only, we can able to create the key figure. Okay, again in the key figures, there are multiple types of key figures are there. One is stored or the calculated key figure. Stored or the calculated key figure is stored in the sense, for example, sales history only. Okay, so we upload it. Okay, we maintain it. Okay, and there is one more called corrected sales history, for example. So we have two key figures. One is sales history and the second one is the corrected sales history. The sales history, whatever the sales data is there for the respective product and the respective location, we have taken in one key figure, and that we give as we can upload or we can key in that values for the respective key figure. So now corrected forecast, corrected sales history, right? Manipulating or doing some math calculations on the sales history key figure. Okay, so my corrected sales history is dependent on my sales history. Okay, by doing some calculations on the sales history, I am getting the corrected sales history, right? So this is, I don't key in this, it will come depending upon the whatever the calculation definition I have defined for the corrected sales history. It will automatically generate if I upload the sales history. Depending upon the calculations I have set up for the corrected sales history, it will automatically load that data into the corrected sales history. That is called calculated key figure. Okay. So one is stored, one is a calculated. Stored, you can key in or you can upload it. Calculated is, it will calculate it from the another dependent key figures depending upon the calculation definition you have defined. Okay. So the now attribute as a key figure. Okay. So key figure, to define the key figure, we need a planning level. And the planning level, one dimension is the time and the other dimensions are product location and all, right? So to define the key figure, I mean, if you say that sales history for month of Jan, I have 100. For month of February, I have 200. For the month of March, I have 300. So likewise. So the data is varying with respect to the time. But if you want some certain constant factors which don't vary across the time, okay. So in those cases, we'll use one of the attribute as a key figure. So attribute will be constant. It is not a time dependent. Okay, right? So then that will be used as a attribute as a key figure, so that it will be used in our planning and the calculations purposes. For example, in inventory, we have an attribute called target service level. Okay, the service level at which you can able to fulfill the customer's demand. Okay, so that is a target service level is an attribute of one master data that is called demand stream. Demand stream is the master data, and within the demand stream we have this attribute called target service level. So that target service level is an input for the my inventory planning. Okay, and it is a constant over a period of time. So now I will convert the target service level, the key figure, and I can use in my key figure calculations or the algorithm calculations. Okay. So if you want certain key figures which is constant, so then you can use this functionality attribute as a key figure. So the next thing is a snapshot key figure. The snapshot key figure is like the name itself, it is indicating, right? It's a snapshot. Like, let me explain with an example. So likewise, it is there. 100, 200, for example. Now, for example, every week I am taking a forecasting run, one of the planning run. Okay. So, and the results will be updated automatically in this key figure. Okay. So now if we want to compare how my results with respect to the previous week. Okay. Every week I am taking one planning run. If I want to compare my results, current results with the previous run, Okay, then what I will do is I will take a snapshot of this and I will keep under one snapshot, and whenever I get a new change in result, okay, that will come here and I can compare it. Or if you modify it also, I mean, not only the planning run, if you modify this key figure, we want to track that change. Okay, so in that case also the snapshot will be helpful. For example, so this is the one. So let me take a snapshot of it. So once you take the snapshot of it, snap one, it will come here and it will sit here. So now what I'm doing is I'm changing 100 to 200 here. Okay. So now if I take a snapshot, what will happen is, so whatever the data is there in the snapshot one, that will be pushed down, and whatever the new snapshot you have taken, right, that will come and sit here. Okay. So if you do one more changes, and if you take a snapshot of it, okay, whatever the new changes there, snapshot 3, so these things will be pushed down, and whatever the new snapshot you have taken, that will come and sit here. Okay, so like the snapshot functionality will work to track the changes of the respective key figure. We'll use this snapshot key figure. So then we have, I mean, we'll go more into this configuration whenever I'm explaining the configuration and scenarios. Then you will get to know how to define, how we generate the snapshot, so those things. And again, in the snapshot operation also, there are two types of operations, snapshot and redo snapshot. So then those things we will get to, I will explain in the coming sessions. Then alert key figure is like, if you want to generate the alerts based upon certain conditions. Okay, for example, my forecast should not be less than 100. Okay, it should be always greater than 100. Or my capacity utilization should not exceed 100. If it is exceed 100, immediately give an alert. Okay, immediately it should be highlighted in the planning view. So for those conditions, if you have that kind of conditions, or to validate those kind of conditions, we can utilize this alert key figure concept. Okay, so basically alert key figure is to generate the alerts based upon the conditions which you have defined for the respective key figures. So the alpha key figure is like, for example, your calculation definitions are huge and the big. It requires multiple key figures as an input. Okay, so and that some portions will be reused in another key figure calculations. Okay, in those cases we'll use a helper key figure. What we'll do is, so one key figure definition, it depends upon, for example, we have three key figures, key figure 1, key figure 2, and key figure 3, and the key figure 4. Now I'm defining key figure 5 with the help of these key figures only. It's like kf1 into 2 plus kf, okay, then whatever the value is there, I'm adding with the k3. So that will be my k5. Okay, and kf6 is like same thing, but I'm adding with the k4. Okay, here I have defined the calculation, and same kind of calculation I have referred in somewhere also. K figure 6 for calculations also have used this, and K figure 5 also have used this. So now, so in these cases, we'll use the helper key figure. So wherever you want it, so I will define one helper key figure with this definition. Okay, so now wherever you need that, you can use that helper key figure. I mean, anywhere, irrespective of the planning level. Okay, so to break down your complex calculations into the small portions, So in those situations, we use the helper key figure, and the helper key figure can be used anywhere in your key figure definitions. Okay, so the helper key figure didn't have any base planning level. So these are the types of the key figures, basic types of the key figures. Okay, we'll learn more about it when you are going into the configuration side. So this is a theoretical part. So any doubts so far?
One question, Sai. All these key figures and attribute we can define in the global and the local level, or it's global to all planning. Is anything like global declaration or local declaration like that?
The master data types, if you are defined it for your planning area, okay. So those master data, I can also use it in my planning area. Okay, master data or attributes are the global. I can use it. So you for your planning area, you have defined it. Okay. When I'm creating my planning area, I feel that same kind of attributes of the master data, I'm using it. Why to create again with my naming conventions? I will use the same thing. So the master data is a global, but key figures, that is on top of the planning area, right? It's not an individual. So that I cannot use it in my planning area. I will have my own set of key figures with my own set of naming conventions. Getting it?
Yeah. And second question is, helper key figure can be of type reference attribute, right? Or that are totally different concept.
I mean, if you correlate, you can, but wherever you want,
It's like an auxiliary key figure, right?
sorry.
Auxiliary key figure.
Uh-huh.
We can link to, if we want to link it to APO.
So if you want to break down big calculations into the small things, you will define the calculations in this key figure, and you will use this wherever you want it. Likewise.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
could you please explain again that attribute key figure?
Attribute as a key figure, this one.
Yes.
So generally key figures means we'll define with respect to the time, and these values will be vary, right? So for this month certain value will be there, that in the next month certain value will be there. It may be constant, may not be, but it will vary with respect to the time. Now there are certain things which you want in your calculation, in your algorithm, and it should be constant across the horizon. Okay, if that kind of field is available in your master data, okay, I have taken target service level as an example. So target service level is like for certain customers, how much percentage you can able to fulfill your demand. Okay, for example, I have 10 customers. For the 10 customers, I don't give 100% target service. Every time if the customer comes, I will fulfill the demand. Certain customers I will choose, sometimes I will fulfill, sometimes I don't fulfill. In those cases, the target service level is less than 100. Certain values will be there. This customer 80%, this customer 30%, this customer 90%. So that is at the master data definition level that is there. When it comes to algorithm, when you are going for the inventory algorithm, so one of the key input is target service level. So you cannot use attribute directly in the calculations, right? So we need a key figure. So now what we do is we'll convert the target service level as a key figure, so that we'll use that as an input for my planning run the calculations.
Is it like you can say like safety stock or
Not exactly the safety stock. Safety stock again, it's the key figure. It will vary with respect to the month or the week. You will get to
Days of
know.
supply.
Yeah, kind of, yes.
Okay.
Clear?
Yes.
Yeah. So actually, I have one more call at 9:30. So here I am stopping. Okay. So I'm winding up the session for today here. So if you have any doubts, we can discuss and we can connect tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, sir.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.